Hi guys, and welcome back to Carson's Classroom. Today we're going to be talking about quadrilaterals, so come on, let's go! Before we start talking about classifying quadrilaterals, I'm going to see if I can lick my elbow. So, here we go. Nope. Okay, the first quadrilateral we're going to be talking about is a parallelogram. Now there is a word in there that you've heard before. The word is parallel. Parallelogram means that they have two pairs, so you like two socks make a pair. They have two pairs of parallel lines. So I drew you a picture. Unfortunately, parallelogram is backwards, but you know what it means. So in a rectangle, this side and this side will be parallel as long as this side and this side are also parallel. Now on this one, this side and this side are parallel. This side and this side are parallel. This is a parallelogram. These are all parallelograms. They have two pairs of parallel sides. The next shape we're going to talk about is a trapezoid. A trapezoid only has one pair of parallel lines. Here is a picture of a trapezoid. As you can see here, this side and this side will never touch. They are parallel. However, this side and this side, if they kept going, they would intersect. The next quadrilateral we're going to discuss is a rectangle. Now you may be saying, wait, I thought a rectangle was a parallelogram. Well, it is both. A rectangle is a rectangle and a parallelogram. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, so two pairs of parallel sides. And it is also a rectangle. How can we tell it's a rectangle? It has two sides that are uneven. So this side is not even to this side. The last quadrilateral we're going to talk about is a square. Now, I didn't draw a perfect square, but in your mind, imagine it's a perfect square. So a square is the same as a rectangle, almost. It has two pairs of parallel sides. It has 4 right angles. However, the only difference between a rectangle and a square is all even sides. All right, let's do some problems you can find on your homework. Come on, let's go. Okay, so we have our types. I'm going to write our types up here. We have our parallelogram. We have a square. We have a rectangle. And the trapezoid. So, our first shape here, we know it is not a square and it is not a rectangle because it does not have 4 right angles. And we know what a square and a rectangle looks like. So, that leaves us with a trapezoid or a parallelogram. Now, a trapezoid only has one side of parallel lines. This one has 2 pairs of parallel lines. So, it is not a trapezoid, it is a parallelogram. It is only a parallelogram. Alright, this next one we know it is not a square, it is not a rectangle. So that leaves us with a parallelogram or a trapezoid. Now for it to be a parallelogram, it has to have 2 pairs of parallel lines. This one only has 1 pair of parallel lines, here and here. Now if I did these two, they are eventually going to intersect, so they are not parallel. So this one is a trapezoid. Alright. Now looking at this next one, I see that it has 4 right angles, and it has 2 sides that are uneven. So it is not a square. It is not a trapezoid because there's 1 pair of parallel lines, and there's the second pair of parallel lines. So it's not a trapezoid, it's not a square, so that leaves a rectangle or a parallelogram. Now, for something to be a parallelogram, it just has to have two pairs of parallel lines. So this one actually is a parallelogram. However, it is also a rectangle. It is both. A quadrilateral, so some shape, has opposite sides parallel and four right angles. So it has so all opposite sides are parallel. It has four right angles. Two sides are longer than the others. What is the quadrilateral? So two sides are longer, and it has to have four right angles. So it is a parallelogram, but it is also a rectangle. Tell whether each statement is true or false. If the statement is false, draw an example to show why it is false. A rhombus is a square. So a rhombus kind of looks like a diamond. So for something to be a square, it has to have four equal sides. Now, if my drawing was better, this could have four equal sides. It has to have four equal sides, two pairs of parallel lines. It has one here and one here. And it also has one here and one here, so it does have two pairs of parallel lines. However, it also has to have four right angles. Now, this is definitely not a right angle. So that is false. It's really close, but it doesn't have the right angles. So there's my example. A rectangle is a parallelogram. Now, we've talked about this one. Okay, so I've got my rectangle. Now, for something to be a parallelogram, it has to have two pairs of parallel lines. So here's one pair of parallel lines. And here is my second pair of parallel lines. So that is true. Follow the steps to describe the quadrilateral. The quadrilateral is a blank because it only has one pair of blank sides. So what type of quadrilateral is this? Well, it is not a square. It is not a rectangle. It is not a parallelogram because it only has one set of parallel lines here and here. These would keep going and eventually hit. So it is a trapezoid because it is exactly one pair of parallel sides. There are blank vertices. So remember, vertices is where our lines meet, like where they hit. So I have one here, one here, one here, one here. So that is four vertices. And their names are A, B, C, and D. There are blank line segments. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. The line segments are AD, AB, BC, and DC. So I'm just getting that from here to here, here to here, so on and so on. Explain why the figure is not a parallelogram. Well, it does not have four, Explain why the figure is not a parallelogram. There's not two pairs of parallel lines. So I hope you all liked my video. Make sure to like and subscribe a lot and give me a big thumbs up. Okay, bye.